A very good evening to RPM Esports F1 Mid-Gear Season 2, Round 1, and we are back in Mid-Gear on a Wednesday evening. I'm RPM Spritzy, and I will be your commentator for this evening on my own in the commentary booth tonight. So I have my partner, Mr. Malbec, with me for a few glasses as we go through. A very warm welcome to everybody that's already tuned in. If you could let me know if the microphone setting is correct, that would be much appreciated. So here we are at Canada, Season 2, Round 1, and everything has changed. So we have a whole new, brand new driver lineup for Season 2. Some of the drivers have changed. A few drivers have come down from high gear. Some drivers have been promoted from low gear, and there are a few new drivers in the mix thrown in as well. So without further ado, we will take a look at the grid. So before we do that, we're just going to have a quick look at the Season 2 calendar. So here we are for Round 1 at Montreal. You will see the small symbol next to the Live Now symbol, which is telling us that for Montreal, one of 3 events that are going to be different for RPM in Season 2, which is where we will be having a full quali, and that is what we have tonight. So the guys are just going out now in Q1, as I can see on my other screen. So the little symbol there is for a full qualification, so Q1, Q2 and Q3, which we will join the guys in a few seconds. When we finished at good evening, Colin. Sound is good. Thank you very much, sir. Very kind of you. So when we finished at Canada, we will move on to Brazil, Sao Paulo, next week, followed by Austria, followed by France at the beginning of December, and the last one, or the last round before the Christmas break, will be Italy, but that will be Imola, not Monza, round 5. We will then have a couple of weeks break over the Christmas period. No doubt we'll be doing a few RPM social races and practice races, and we will return for the second part of the season on the 6th, round 6, on the 4th, 5th and 6th in Portimao. Moving on to Silverstone. Now on Silverstone you can see the other icon that we have there at the end of the date. Silverstone will be a sprint race qualifying, so that will be reverse championship standings for a 5-lap sprint, which will set the grid for the main 50% race. So that should be really exciting and a chance to throw in and mix the people up that are at the front of the grid. So that's on round 7. We then move to China, Bahrain round 9, Italy, Monza round 10, and again you can see the little symbol there on round 10. So that will be the second of 2 full quali sessions at Monza using Q1, Q2, Q3 of course. We then move to USA, and the last round will be in February, round 12. The final round will be at the mighty circuit of Spa in Belgium. So a great circuit to finish the season on, and let's hope we have some championship deciding races. As we just have a quick flick through now on track, we can see that Always Rick has set. I've got no audio from the game. I don't know if that's coming through on stream, so if somebody could let me know if that is the case. In the meantime, we will have a quick check. Just bear with me 1 second, and we will have a quick check of the sound. I do believe we should now have sound, so as I come back to the main race, we should now have game sound, so I do apologise for that. No game volume. Westboy joining us in the chat. Hopefully you can hear the sound of the cars now. Just a bit of a setup error on my part, so we'll just pop on the spectator menu. We will have the tyre choice that people have gone on. And we can see that Deck is already out there and has set a 110.1. In second place we've got Always Rick with a 110.3, gone back in the pits. Yamin's 110.5, Huss in 4th and Dragos. So the only drivers at the moment to have set a lap. So let's just have a quick look at the grid for mid-gear. So we said about a change of drivers. So we've got LN Cron coming up from low gear and Equal in the Mercedes. In the Red Bull we have the mighty pair of Huss and Deck. So 2 of the low gear championship front runners from season 1 moving up to mid gear in the Red Bull. In the Ferrari we have the team of RPM Richie Cavallino. And he is joined by RPM Backer, who is stepping down from high gear and also running less assists for season 2. So that's going to be interesting to see how Backer gets on without those assists, both in the Ferrari. Changing from Alfa Romeo last year to McLaren, we have RPM Dragos and RPM Always Rick in the McLaren. In the Alpine, we have also from high gear in season 1, we have Boris, F1, one of our chief stewards, and stepping up from low gear last year, we have Marko Solanovic in the Alpine. So I will be cheering for Boris and Marko as we go on, obviously because I'm also driving for the Alpine, and in RPM we have an all-gear Constructors Championship that is running alongside the individual championships. So moving on to the Alfa Romeo, moving from the Williams last year now to the Alfa Romeo, we've got Big Puggy and Shigs keeping that teammate partnership in place but moving cars. We then have Loud and Flying Boy Val in the Alpha Tauri. We then have two new drivers for season 2, Cheese and Mauro. So they are driving the Aston Martin. In the Haas, we have Shack Attack finally managed to crowbar him out of the Mercedes, and he is joined by Crazy Mo, who I am just looking at on screen, and Crazy Mo has actually DNF'd already, so that is very unfortunate and disappointing. And then making up the back of the grid, not the back in performance, but certainly in terms of the list that we have on screen, we have the mighty Mirko Lesko, who's also coming up from low gear, had a fantastic season last year. And we have Yamin, so incredible pace from last season, joining up with mid-gear. So mid-gear really does threaten to be a really, really competitive and equal field. So let's have a look how we are getting on. So we can see Shigs has moved up to first place with a 109.7. Deck is in second, still with that 110.1. Back has put a lap in, 110.2, invalidated his last one. So let's have a look if we can see who is on a lap. We're on board with Puggy in the Alfa Romeo. Puggy's put a lap in. We'll just see where he is on the sector time. He's 5/10 up, so that's not going to be one of Puggy's best. Let's have a look with Eek. Eek's 2 seconds up, so that's not going to be an improvement for him. So he will be going back out, presumably, as we just now look to Flying Boy Val. Flying Boy Val coming up, not quite sure. Val's done 2 green sectors, sector 1 and sector 2, so he is on an improvement as he comes through the final 2 corners. And Val sets a 111.4, so I would expect Val to be going a little bit quicker than that, and that is the best that Flying Boy Val is going to achieve in this session, because he is out. So it looks like the commentator's curse has struck again as we jump on board with Boris. Let's have a look what Boris has done. Boris has set a green sector 1, 19.9. Boris has not got a time on the board yet, so he's going to be really keen to get a time on the board as we come towards the end of sector 2. And he's done a 42.0, another green in sector 2, which is a 22.0. As we just look on the TAS system, we will confirm the weather, and all the mid-gear drivers will be delighted to know that we have a completely dry Q1, Q2, Q3, and the race tomorrow will also be dry. So that's really, really good news as Boris crosses the line and puts it into 9th place. So a good lap from Boris with a 110.6. I know that Boris was desperate to get below 110 because one of his low gear teammates last night got very, very close. One of his teammates beat it, one of his teammates didn't. Can't mention which one that was for obvious reasons. So as we now look who else we've got, so we've got Dragos on an out lap, and we've got Marko Solanovic also staying in the pits. So these guys not choosing to do a lap just yet. We've got Cosmo coming out on the mediums, which is a little bit of a strange choice for Q1, I have to say. I could probably understand that in Q2. We've got 6 minutes and 25 left of Q1. Yeah, probably wouldn't have chose the mediums in Q1. Definitely would have chosen them in Q2. And we've got Luke van der Mark joining us also in the chat. Very good evening, Luke. Hope you're keeping well and using this race as a little bit of a warm-up for tomorrow evening. Your debut in high gear that we are all looking forward to, sir. Alongside the mighty Colin Obviously Luke has moved to Ferrari for the money. Richie has obviously been paying all the big cash out to get the drivers into Ferrari. So that's why Luke has joined Colin to get that Constructors' Trophy. But all joking aside, I'm sure you'll have a great race tomorrow, mate. As Cosmo looks like he's coming through, he has invalidated the lap that he's on. So this is going to be putting him on a outlap, as Dragos is a 10th, only a 10th. No, he's down to 3,000th above his previous lap. So Dragos will be looking to get a good sector 3 here. He is currently in the drop zone, so the bottom 4 will drop out of Q1. In this case, it's going to be the bottom 5 because you've also got Flying Boy Val, who's DNF. As Dragos comes through and sets a 1:12.5, doesn't improve unfortunately. So Dragos is staying in the drop zone. Let's have a look. We've still got Marco in the pit, so just reading Luke's message there. Very good, very good. So yeah, we've still got Marco. We've still got Marco in the pit. So either Marco's just going to try and put one lap in right at the end. It looks like he may have just come out actually. No, he's not. That was Boris. So yeah, concentrating on the drop zone. I think, is Big Puggy safe? Is Big Puggy safe with a 1:11.1? I'm not 100% sure he is. And he's got through that final sector clean. Is this a... This looks like an outlap from Puggy. Almost a second slower. So this would be one of Puggy's laps. Looks like Dragos is on the lap. We'll jump on with him in a moment. We are going to leave the top guys for now because they're obviously choosing not to put another lap in. Big Puggy is 3/10 up, so doing really well. That would keep him definitely safe if he can get into the 110s. And we've still got no action from Marco and Cosmo, so they may well be opting to start from the back of the grid as Puggy goes motocrossing. Didn't manage to hit the apex there. He's set 2 personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2, so he is on for an improvement. It depends what this... depends what the last chicane is like. And he's invalidated, so Big Puggy stays in 14th. We've got an Aston Martin going out with 2 minutes 51 left. And none of the drivers in the drop zone. So we'll jump on board with Boris, 4/10 up he was, and Boris has decided to just slow that one off. So we caught that, Boris, on stream. Boris trying to sneak in his pace there, didn't want to reveal too much in Q1. We know the tactics. Richie, RPM Richie, he's done really well with a 1:10.6, so should be safe for Q2. And with only 2 minutes left to go, we have very, very little action. As we jump on board with Deck, thank you Deck for at least giving us something to watch. Because all the other guys don't seem to bother about. The poor commentator sat on his own in the commentary booth trying to find a bit of action. Declan did do a green Sector 2. Oh, as he just skims the wall. This is obviously the risk for the drivers, is if they try to put too much pressure on in Q1, and if they had a spin like Val did and DNF, that is them out for the full quali session. So it's a bit of a fine line here. I don't think these lap times will actually indicate the pace of the guys. I think that we'll start to see the real pace of the mid-gear drivers in Q2. And I think that the majority of them will be on the mediums. And then for the second run, I imagine a few of them will put on the softs to make sure they get through to Q1. And that's where we'll start to see an interesting battle going on as we move down the field. So Ellen Cron is on an outlap with a 110.3. We've only got one driver in the 109s at the moment, so these laps would be actually quite comparable with low gear last night so far, but this is only Q1 of course, so the track's got to rubber in, and over the next 20 minutes or so we'll start to see these lap times come down, I'm pretty sure. Always Rick with that first lap that he put in on with a 110.3. Shack Attack 110.3. Shaq saying he's got more time left in the game than anyone else. We do have some action in the Red Bull pit lane, but nothing that we're that interested about because it's Deck and he's in third, so we're not really bothered. We've got anything in this bottom four. Come on, guys, give us something. Dragos, here we go. Dragos, is he going to get over the line? One. He's not. So Dragos is the first driver. So that's pretty much the drop zone. So we are going to lose. We are going to lose Flying Boy Val, RPM Dragos, Crazy Mo and Marko Silanovic from Q1. So those four drivers will be starting on the back two rows. It doesn't look like we've got anyone else on the lap apart from Cron. We'll just jump on board as Cosmo nicely moves out of the way. Cosmo did eventually go and put a lap on those softs. Cosmo's the only reserve tonight, reserving for mid-gear. We've got two drivers, unfortunately couldn't make it. Cosmos took the seat of one, and we got Mauro who couldn't make it, unfortunately, as Cron comes into the final chicane, misses the wall of champions quite nicely and comes across in a 109.9. So that's just a little bit of indication of what we can expect there in Q2. So a great lap from Cron, really great lap from Cron, and that should be the end of Q1 as far as I'm aware. We will take a quick 2 seconds and be back with you shortly. And there we have it. Confirmation of what we knew about 10 minutes ago. So the four drivers who have been eliminated in Q1 are Flying Boy Val in the AlphaTauri, RPM Dragos in the McLaren, Crazy Mo not setting a time, unfortunately DNF'd before he had a chance to set a time, and Marko Silanovic choosing not to set a time and stay in the pits. So that may be Marko's strategic choice, saving his tyres for the race. Last to first challenge. Be very interesting to see where Marko can come from for the rest of the race from the back. Okay, so while we wait for the guys to come through, we'll just have a quick look in the press room. So RPM runs a press room for every race, and we ask our drivers to answer a few questions. So we've asked the drivers what they're most looking forward to about Season 2 and which track will be the best. So Boris is looking forward to Les Steward's reports, and his best track is Bahrain. RPM Richie is looking for closer battles across the division, and he's looking forward to racing the new guys from low gear and high gear. And he says that France is his best track, but he excels on all of them apparently, so very good. Backers he's looking forward to getting used to the line only, and his best track he's hoping Imola, as long as he's not got an Alpine brake checking him in the middle chicane. Mirko is looking forward to transfer from low gear and the good racing etiquette from last season, and his best track, he says, for a real champion every track is best, but for him maybe Brazil or Belgium. Declan, looking forward to close battles and good racing. Best track, Austria or Brazil. Always spinning Rick too. Looking forward to more close battles, probably more than he had last season, because I don't think Rick had the best season one, even by his own admission. But France would be the track that Rick is most looking forward to. We've then got Crazy Mo. Crazy Mo's just looking forward to everything, and every track's good for him, so that's good. Marko Solanovic, Portimao is his favourite track. Big Puggy, he's looking forward to driving the Alpha and get a decent grid with all clean and respectful drivers. I won't exactly repeat what he put, and same for him as Portugal. We got Huss, who is saying as long as he doesn't DNF, he's happy, and there's no special track, he just wants to cross the line. Yameen's is definitely Bahrain. He's looking forward to all the new tracks and the new league. Dragos, nothing special, just wants to see what happens. His favourite track is Monza. And I think we will leave that there for now, and we will come back to the press room a little bit later on. So, as we join back on the TAS system, which is on a different place, let's have a look who we've got on and out lap. So it looks like we've got Deck first, who is now coming through to set his lap. We'll have a look at the tyres. We'll see what the tyres we've got on. And, oh, mixed bag. So we've got Deck taking no big gamble on the medium. So that's interesting. So we've got Deck and also Huss behind Deck, who's both gone out on the softs. As we stay on board with Deck, be looking to get a banker lap in here for sure. And we got Bumblebee joining us in the chat. Very good evening, sir. And Evil Master joining us, asking what Shaq is doing, which is the usual drill. As we got a fastest lap from Always Rick on the medium, so we must have missed that as he's come through. We've missed a couple more. Looks like we've got an Alpine. We've got two Alpines and an Alpha Tauri, so we'll keep an eye on what they do. So we've got Yamin's going through with a 110.0. We've got an Alpine coming through the last chicane now, which is going to put one of the Alpines nowhere as Deck spins and hits the wall, so might have some damage. The next car we've got coming through looks to be an Aston Martin, which is taking me a bit of time to get used to who's who, so apologies for that. Looks like Cosmo comes through and sets a 110.4 also on the softs. Deck's going again, so can't see if Deck has got any damage at the moment because the TAS system doesn't show that. So if he's gone again, we suspect not. We got Huss coming through on his lap. Huss has set a 22.0 as Rick goes even faster in the McLaren on his mediums, and Huss comes through in third place on the softs with a 110.2. So a great lap from Huss. Cosmo looks like he's going again, and he's 2/10 up. As we start to have a look, it looks like we've got a Deck is the next driver. He's invalidated, so that won't be Deck. We've got another driver which looks to be well, must have been Cosmo. As Cosmo comes through, is he going to improve? And he does. He's a 110.0, but that's the second lap that he's done on those soft tyres, and they will be the tyres that Cosmo starts the race on. So you probably don't want to be doing any more laps, Cosmo, on those softs. Yeah, as he starts to ease off, so that's Cosmo back in, going back in the pits. So we're now on board with Lau. Lau's coming through. Has he had a good lap? Let's have a quick look on the TAS. He's not improved at the moment, so he goes in the pits. as we look for a Alfa Romeo of Shigs. He's on an outlap, so this is Shigs. We'll stay on board with Shigs as he goes through on his lap, because we've got nothing else coming through and quite a few drivers in the pits. Great turn one, got to the apex, little bit of a spin on turn two. Shigs is on those mediums, so these mediums are probably going to be a little bit more difficult to hook up. Awesome lap from Always Rick into the 109s on the mediums. And we've got Backer snuck in as well with a 110.0 also on the mediums. So the Backer brothers are certainly looking to stake their claim in this race as we stay on board with Shigs. I have a funny feeling this is going to be a bit of a crazy last few minutes in Q2. And then probably Q1's going to be pole or bin it. As Shigs comes up to the final chicane. Takes it beautifully. What's it going to be for Shigs? Also on the mediums. It's a 110.1, so Shigs moves up into 6th place. So you would think that Shigs will be safe with that. As we have a quick scoot down the field. We've got Shaq in the pits. We've got Richie in the pits. Big Puggy is on his outlap. Or he might be on a flying lap actually. So he's done a 20.2 in the first sector, so that's probably, this is his warm-up lap, because the other drivers have done a low 19s in the first sector, so he's maybe 0.6 away from where he'd like to be. But at the moment we've got a little bit of pressure because we've got 5 drivers that have not actually set a lap time, which would be the 5 drivers that drop out in Q2. As we've got Big Puggy now coming up. Where's this guy? I think Puggy's probably going to... He's not used a lot of ERS on this lap, so I think this is probably his flying lap. So he pops in with a 111.9, but I think this is going to be the lap where he puts a bit of pressure on. And at the moment, we'll just stay on board with him. Looks like we've got a Red Bull of Deck coming through on those mediums, not invalidated so far. So where's this going to put Deck? As he crosses the line with a 110.2, he'd be pleased with that. Puts him up into 9th place. So let's have a quick check back with Mr. Puggy. And Big Puggy has gone green, his personal best with a 19.8 in Sector 1 as he just brushes the wall there. Hoping he's not took a bit of the wing off as he comes to the end of Sector 2 with a 22.4. So that's the best personal best for Big Puggy. Boris is saying in the chat that these backers are fast. Yeah, not always. They're not fast at snipper clipping the results and posting them into the Discord. As Big Puggy comes through the final corner now. What's it going to be for Big Puggy on the mediums as he goes through with a 110.8, pops him into 12th. So not exactly what he would be looking for, I'm sure, but he does have time to go again. As we see who's next on board, looks like we've got a Red Bull. That's Deck coming back in. After that we have Lau, who's in 10th place. So at the moment Lau is in Q1. He's made it through to Q1. Is he on an improvement? Yes, he is. He's done 2 personal best sectors in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Let's have a look how he does in Sector 3. And he invalidates. Just cut the corner. So that will be this lap and the next lap invalidated on that chicane. So Lau will be disappointed with that. ERS will go off and he'll start to charge that battery for his next flying lap. After Lau, looks like we've got a Ferrari coming through, which it is. It's RPM Richie, as Richie now comes through, and Richie goes across with a 1:10.2, sneaks into 9th position. Richie's gone straight onto the softs, no messing around, straight onto the softs with a 1:10.2. That is putting him quite close to the drop zone. We've got Eek, who's on an out lap at the moment. We've got an Alpine that's also on a lap. I'm guessing that must be Boris because we don't have Marco. So Boris is going to be the next driver to cross the line, but he's actually on a out lap. Eek's on an out lap. Shaq's just coming out the pits, so Shaq's leaving it with just one lap to do, putting the pressure on. We've not seen Shaq all evening. He's been busy at work this evening, so he was arriving home late. So we will come back to Shaq a bit later and give him a bit of coverage. Puggy's still in the pits as we're on board with Boris, looking to break into that 109. 0.6 to get off that Boris, and he's a 10th up in the end of the first sector. Hits the DRS as he comes down under. Don't know what Evil Master's saying there in the chat. We just had Q1. Yeah, I mean Q3. You know I mean Q3. You know exactly what I mean. It's all fingers and thumbs doing this job on your own. Boris set purple, sector 2. So the fastest sector 2 so far. As he comes up to the final corner, got to take this really carefully. Good last corner for Boris, gets the power down. Where is this going to put him? He's on the softs and he goes on to P1. Great lap from Boris, got into the 109s, exactly where he wants to be. He will be delighted at that, but that pushes Deck into the drop zone. So Deck is now in 11th place as he starts his... It probably won't be his final lap. He probably will get another lap in. We've got Lau also on an out lap. We've got Big Puggy in the pits, so that will be it for Big Puggy. Big Puggy will be starting the race. We've got Eek. Eek Wow has just put in a lap of a 1:10.6. So good lap from him. Unfortunately not quite quick enough, but that was the first lap on the mediums. He will get to go again. As we got Shaq on his out lap. Actually, Shaq could be on his fast lap. I might have missed that while we were on board with others. As Shaq comes through, and Shaq goes in a 1:10.3, puts him into 12th place. So not good enough, Shaq, to get into the top 10, but a great effort. Looking at how much time we have left, as we've got Deck, who is invalidated this lap, but he will be going again. So this will be Deck's fast lap. We've got a yellow in sector 3. I think that's just people letting people through. And that looks like Deck's invalidated that lap as well. He'd be really disappointed. So Deck will start the race 11th. So he will get free tyre choice, and you can imagine that he'll start on the mediums. Shaq is on an in lap. We've got Boris, who has retired from the session. So if Boris has retired from the session, that will quite possibly put Boris out of Q1, which is really disappointing because he'd set his fast lap. So first time RPM have done the full quali, so we'll find out whether that means that Boris has just retired from Q2, Q2, or whether he can still go into Q3. I think it means he can't go into Q3, but we will check. As that's Lau that stays 11th. Checkered flag is now out. Looks like there's only Shaq, which has not managed to do anything. So that is it. We have a drop zone of Lau, Deck, Shaq, Eek Wow and Big Puggy. So Big Puggy pushed back to 15th place with that 110.8. So this is going to make Q3 extremely interesting. We've got Colin confirming in the chat that Boris will still be in Q3, so that's great. We've got Shaq in the chat also saying that his controller disconnected on his lap, but I thought you were a wheel driver, Shaq, so I don't exactly know what happened there. So there's the top 10 that are progressing into Q3. So we've got Boris in the Alpine, Always Rick in the McLaren, Bakker in the Ferrari, LN Cron in the Mercedes, Shigs, Huss, Yamines, RPM Cosmo, Mirko, and Richie. The praying mantis, Richie, RPM Richie, scraping in by 200ths of a second from Lau into the top 10. So good Q2, and we will see what happens in Q3. Been told by Mr. Westy to turn up the volume a little bit. So if you could let me know, Westy, whether that's microphone volume or whether that's the audio from the game feed. There we go. We've turned the microphone up a bit. So yeah, that was in DM. I'm only actually watching the chat at the moment. So watching the chat, watching the Taz, watching the DM. Who's going to be first to go out? Yamines. First driver on track. Looks like we've got a little bit of overcast. We do. We have the first 10 minutes of overcast. And then we've got cloudy and then sun right at the end. So looks like the track's going to be a bit cooler for this. As Mirko goes ahead. Looks like we're on board with Mirko. Yeah, so we'll stay on board with Mirko as the first driver to set a lap in Q3. Luke is asking for a pole prediction. I don't know, what do you think, Luke? What's your prediction based on what you've seen in... that was at the start. Fine now. Okay, Westy, thanks for that. Okay, I would say... I think that probably Boris... I don't know, this is so close. This tier is so close. I would say maybe Boris, Mirko, Always Rick has got a... Oh, and RPM Cosmo has been disqualified for blocking the pit lane for letting another driver through. So he'll be disappointed with that. Probably not allowed to stop before the white line on track. But as Mirko goes through, Mirko sets a 19.6 for the first sector. Cron's gone fastest so far. Who's coming on later as we've got a purple. Richie's now gone purple on his flying lap, but we'll stay on board with Mirko and then we'll jump on. Mirko's gone purple in sector 2, but he obviously is the first driver through sector 2. As now Cron sets the fastest sector 2 behind him, and Always Rick goes purple behind Cron. So my Taz system is lighting up like illuminations as Mirko comes through, just kisses the wall there on the outside, and Mirko sets a 109.6. Great lap to start with. So who's the next driver we've got coming through? As we just jump on board with Richie, we've missed a lap from Cron. Always Rick 109.9, and Richie goes third with a 110.4. Cron must have made a few mistakes in that final sector because he was purple up to that point. We've got RPM Bakker that's also gone purple in... He did go purple, and it looks like he's backed out of the lap. It looks like he is backing out of the lap, so he's probably saving this up for another one. Let's get the telemetry up. Sorry guys, just too busy getting carried away with Taz. Obviously you guys can't see the Taz and I can, so that's a little bit unfair as Bakker jumps back in the pit. So do we assume that the invalidation has made him change his mind? Go and put some fresh tyres on. Boris is on his lap. Boris is also invalidated. And we got Shigs in the pit as Yameen's goes fastest with a 109.3. We all know that Yameen's has got amazing one lap pace. Had great pace last season in low gear and then moved up to mid gear for a few races. We've got a yellow in sector 2. That looks to be a Red Bull or a Williams just letting drivers through. So nothing too serious. Whew, wow. So as my teammate from last night joins me in the chat, Jono, looking kind of slow tonight. Well, I think your P1, or your Q3 time was a 109.7, so that would have put you probably third place at the moment, mate. So, no comment. Okay, so who's the first driver we're going to have coming through? As we've got, looks like we've got all the drivers coming back into the pits. We've got an Alpine of Boris. Got another, what's the other car coming through into the pits? Boris looks like the first driver on a fast lap. And he's invalidated. So Boris will not be happy with that at all. As Shigs is on an outlap. So we'll stay on board with Shigs. This is going to go a little bit crazy in the last few minutes. Just have a look who the other driver is that we've got here. Cron coming in the pits. We know that Boris is going to be... He's going to be coming in the pits as well for his final set of softs. So, only Shigs, 19.6. Good first sector for Shigs. Oh, no! Don't shoot the commentator, Shigs, when you watch this back. Unlucky, no damage. Still be able to take that back. Should still have enough time. Slap a new set of softs on. So, as we go to the pit lane, let's have a look, see who is the first driver. It's Bakker. Bakker goes, he sets a green sector 1, a 19.4. So a good first sector for Bakker as he's coming up into sector 2. Short shifts up into 5th, gets good traction out there. Bakker's not using any traction control this season, and he's also improved on his previous, but that would be obvious because he didn't set one previous, so with a 22.0. So we'll see where this lap will put Bakker on the grid. Obviously got to navigate through that final chicane, which is incredibly tricky when you're trying to push like crazy. Does that lovely, doesn't invalidate, gets on the power, DRS, keeps the line tight, and Bakker goes into third place with a 109.7. So we now got 6 drivers in the 109, so a great lap from Bakker. He'll be pleased with that. Should just have time for a recharge and then get another lap in. As we look at now, we've got Huss on an outlap. Already done a 109.7, so Huss will be really pleased with that. Really pleased with that. After coming up from low gear. As we look who else we got on track. Boris is back out on an outlap. We've got Shigs on an outlap and Mirko on an outlap. So everybody seems to be on outlaps. Mirko might be the first one that gets through. So we'll keep an eye on Mirko here. Lovely first sector. As he comes to the end of the first sector, he's going to go with a 19.4, but Huss has gone purple. Huss has gone purple with a 19.3, but it's saying that Huss is on an outlap, so I don't quite know. Huss must be having the fastest. He is. Huss is having the fastest sector 1 from his first lap. So Mirko, it's the fastest that Mirko's been as we come to end of sector 2, 2/10 up. So this would put him, if he stays the same, would be very, very close to Yameen's. Very, very close. He has gone fastest. He's got purple in sector 2, 21.8. As we now come to the final chicane, what can Mirko do? Oh no! I'm gonna get fired from this job. Mirko. Well, you're still on P2, so still a great result for Mirko there. Got an Alpine ahead of us, so we'll have a quick peek at Boris as Boris comes through. 2 minutes still to go. Cutting the grass there, Boris, on the right hand side. Not going to be Boris's best lap with a 1:10.4 as we go back to Huss. Huss is coming through. Huss has done a purple sector 2, so he is on a good lap as he just misses the wall. That was almost perfect from Huss. What's he going to get? It's a 109.6, goes up into second place, so puts himself on the front row of the grid next to Yameen. So fantastic lap from Huss. Really great lap from Huss. We've got Richie who's on an out lap, so this is going to be these guys' final laps. We'll just check that Richie Mirko is not setting a lap. Doesn't look like he's got enough fuel, so that will be the end of quali for Mirko. As we got Bakker also on an out lap, leaving himself enough time for another flying lap. We got Rick also on an out lap. And behind Rick looks like we've got Boris, who has invalidated, doesn't have fuel, so that's going to be the end of quali for Boris. Nope, proving me totally wrong. Here he goes again. Boris going to go on pole with a 1:33.5. Congratulations. No, Boris is obviously putting another lap in here. Nope. Nope, Boris. That won't work. Obviously he's got his stream on because he's shaking about. So unlucky Boris, but P9, I think you wanted to get into the... Let's have a look. Who have we got on a lap? We've got Bakker, 4/10 up. And is that the first? He's invalidated. So that's not going to work for you, Bakker. So we've got Always Rick coming through. As we look at Always Rick, he's done personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2. So Rick is on for an improvement. Coming up to the final chicane. Good exit from Rick. This is going to go through with a 109.5. Great lap from Rick, putting him onto the front row. We missed Shiggs in there, sneaking onto the front row temporarily, but Rick has put Shiggs onto the second row of the grid, and Shiggs is now on an in lap, and Boris is in the pits. So that is your starting grid for mid-gear Canada, full quali, round 1 of the season. We've got Yameen's on pole with a 109.3. We've got Always Rick in second place with a 109.5. Shiggs in third place with a 109.6. Joining him on the second row of the grid, we've got Huss in the Red Bull, 109. As I just move and change screens, 0.6. On the third row of the grid, we've got Mirko in the Williams, also 109.6. And we've got RPM Bakker on a 109.7. On the 4th row of the grid, we've got Cron and Richie. And on the 5th row of the grid, we've got Boris in the Alpine with no time set, and Cosmo, who very unfortunately disqualified after getting stuck at the end of the pit lane, letting a driver through. So Rick's in the chat saying get in there. He's going to be very, very pleased with that. Hopefully, if Rick can have a good race this evening, we may have removed the admin RPM admin curse, which is what we're hoping for. Okay, we will have a liquid break for 1 second. Waiting for the TAS system to update, which should be very shortly. The guys will be on the grid now picking their strategy. What we saw from Low Gear last night is that it is possible to do a one-stop, soft to medium. It's possible, but we're not 100% sure if it's the fastest without a safety car. With a safety car, depending on when the safety car comes, which it probably will, we are running on reduced safety car setting, so I think that we will probably see one safety car. So we could be looking at a one-stop. We could also be looking at a two-stop. So going to be very, very interesting for us as we look at the tyres. So the top 10 will start on the tyres that they set their quali in Q2. So Lau is the first driver, P11, who's jumped on the mediums. We've got Deck in the Red Bull also on the mediums in 12th. Shaq has chosen to start on the softs in 13th. Equow also on the mediums. Puggy on the softs, which is not like Puggy at all. Flying Boy Val on the mediums. Dragos has opted to go on the hards from the beginning, so he's obviously hoping, he's probably thinking about a one-stop hard to medium. Crazy Mo also on the mediums, and Marko Solanovic on the back of the grid also starting on the hard, so I can only assume that these guys are thinking about a hard to medium strategy. Just follow Marco round, so we're coming round on the last car on the grid. Taz has now updated itself. Just a final check on the weather. We're going to have great weather all the way through, 29 degrees start to finish, so that certainly doesn't come into it. We'll look to the damage tab. Interestingly, the TAS is telling us that we can see the tyre wear from Q2, and it's actually Huss that has the most worn tyres from all the drivers after the Q2. So we're just going to have to keep a bit of an eye on that Huss as we go through. Do seem to have another little bit of a glitch on the TAS, but we'll come back to that later. As the last of the drivers, which is Marco, forms the grid, we will move to probably P3 for the start. P4 looks like, if we keep this camera angle, that would be great. Here we can see the predicted stops, 7 to 11 or 7 to 11 for medium hards. So here we go at 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 lights. And mid-gear is away. Looks like to be a great start from Yameen's. And another good start from Always Rick as Rick goes up to the inside, backs out. Yameen's gets away. We've got an Alpha on the outside of Shigs. Looks like he gets the run on Rick into the first corner. We've got Huss up the inside. Looks like he may have just touched the wall there, Huss. As we go back downfield, we've got Mirko in 5th, Bakker in the Ferrari in 6th. So far, looks like we've had a clean start on lap 1. Cron in 7th, Richie in 8th as we jump back up the front. And Yameen's is away, 0.6 tenths from Rick, which is not surprising because Rick is on the mediums. Rick does have the better of Shigs at the moment, so that's going to be interesting for us to keep an eye on as we just jump on board now as we drop down the field. So Shigs in third, we got Huss in fourth, Mirko in fifth, we got Bakker. Let's have a quick look to see if we have any drivers with any damage, and we don't. So that's great news. A really, really clean lap from mid-gear. So fantastic, guys. As Rick has taken the lead. So we've missed that. We've missed that as we've gone down the field. So RPM, always Rick, on the mediums, taking the lead at the end of the first lap. Yameen's straight behind in the Williams. As we go back downfield, so we've got Richie in 8th place in the Ferrari. Cosmo made up 1 place on those softs from 10th to 9th. Boris has lost a place. Let's have a quick look at the position changes, the winners and losers. So we've got Puggy, the biggest winner, with 3 positions up. We've got Lau that's held station in 11th. Puggy gained 3 on those softs, so it looks like it's been a bit of a payoff. We've got a yellow in sector 2, and that looks to be RPM Dragos. No. And it's Crazy Mo. Oh, and his RPM debut in mid-gear has had a bit of an incident. We do have some front wing damage, 23% wing damage for Mo, so he's going to be in the pits. So we've got Yameen's keeping right up with Rick here. I think we'll get back to the so we can keep an eye on where the tyres are. Oh, and Yameen's putting a bit of pressure on there, bit of spin. They've made a nice little gap of 1.1 seconds to Shigs in 3rd place. Shigs is also on the medium, so Shigs won't be too worried, I don't think, at this point. He'll be biding his time. Huss on those softs, probably. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, Huss has got 26% tyre wear, so Huss will be feeling the pressure a little bit on those softs and will be one of the drivers that's probably likely to do the 2-stop. Behind Huss we've got Mirko, and behind Mirko we've got RPM Bakker. So a great train going on here. We've only had one small incident with Mo on the first lap. On board with Cron. I think we've got quite a few drivers that are maybe just keeping the powder dry a little bit in this race. Richie just keeping in touching distance, 1.9, 1.7 behind Cron in 8th place, so a good drive from Richie, being closely followed by Cosmo. Got Boris right behind Cosmo. Boris is also on the softs. We got Lau just behind Boris as well, but Lau is on the mediums, so Lau will be going long. Bit of a DRS train. Then we got Puggy on the soft, so Puggy's trying to be making up places on those softs. He's done quite well so far. We've got Marco and Dragos on the hards. Actually finding it a bit difficult. Marco's 3.2 seconds behind Eek at the moment, and Dragos is just keeping up with Marco on those hards. Dragos also uses no assist at all, so let's go and have a look what's happening at the front. So we've got Always Rick in first. Shig setting the fastest lap of the race. Yameen's is on the softs and Shigs and Rick are on the medium, so you would think that Shigs and Rick have got a little bit stronger pace than Yameen's. They've just started to drop Huss now, who is 1.3 seconds away from the leading 3, so he's just dropped off a little bit, and we do think that Huss is going to be one of the first drivers to actually come into the pits. And we got a yellow in sector 2 as we look. That looks to be a Haas. It looks like it's Shaq. and doesn't have any damage, so must have been a spin for Shaq. And we are jumping around a little bit, so I don't know if that's something to do. So not a good start for the two Haas drivers, that's for sure. So they'll be both hoping for a safety car. As Bakker now closes up on Mirko. As Mirko gets the jump on Huss into T1, those softs will just be starting to fade a little bit now of Huss's. Although Mirko's also on the softs. Bakker gets good traction. No, doesn't get the job done. Quite a tight place there as Shiggs picks up a 3-second penalty. So that will come into play in the race later. You can see Huss's tyres sliding around in front. So Bakker's definitely got the rubber. It's just whether or not he can actually... we've got quite a lot of ERS as well. So as we look to Huss has already started using quite a lot of his ERS. Down to 6% just to stay up with these guys. Just keeping an eye on that battle at the front. Looks like a bit of a DRS train. Is Yameen's going to get closer to Rick? Yameen's has used all of his ERS as well and can't get with Rick on the straight with DRS. So, and as we check, Rick's still got 33% and he's on the mediums. So it looks like Rick has got a good grasp and a good control of this race so far. Shiggs following just close behind, but does have those penalties. Canada is a really easy circuit to get penalties on with the two chicanes. As Shaq, just talking about that, Shaq picks up a 3-second penalty and Cosmo picks up a 3-second penalty. So it's raining penalties at the moment on lap 7 in Canada. We've got Mirko on those 6-lap-old softs, just dropping off the pace a little bit. But he's got Bakker keeping him honest, which is good. And they've both got past Huss, who is now down in 6th. So Huss is probably thinking about maybe doing softer hards as Crazy Mo sets the fastest lap of the race. So really unfortunate for Mo, he's got the pace. As we jump on board with Kron, so Kron is going to go by with the DRS and takes Huss for that 6th place. So Kron's going to be now looking to get himself up on the back of Bakker so that he can get in that DRS zone and try and get in that little battle. And we've got Huss, the first driver to pit. So we suspect that Huss is going to go on to the mediums, which he does. So on lap 8, that would indicate that Huss is maybe going for a 2-stop. Might be possible, but doubtful. 27 laps could be a bit of a push on those mediums, but with the safety car, who knows. So Huss will be now trying to work his way back through as we jump back up the field. Got loads of close battles going on, but looks to be like a bit of a DRS train. As we got Deck thinking about a move on Puggy. Puggy just makes his car as wide as possible. Deck is on those mediums as well, so Deck will be wanting to take those mediums as long as he can. He's got good ERS. He is going to get DRS, but so is Puggy, so one will pretty much cancel the other. Puggy looks to be out of ERS. And he dives into the pit, so that's clear Deck to go and have a crack at Law. Still got no change. We've got, so only 2 drivers have pitted so far. Still got no change in the leading 3. And we have a yellow in sector 3. And that looks like it's in the pits. Difficult to work out. Some great racing for these guys. Oh, the pace is really, really evenly matched. think we're going to see Lau get past Richie here, because Richie's dropped out of the DRS of Cosmo. So Lau is going to get the DRS on Richie as he pulls out. Pretty easy move, nice and safely done. Oh, but then cuts the chicane. That might have been a warning there for Lau, but he gets also up on the back of Cosmo as well. And Boris has worked his way up into 6th place thanks to those pit stops. Boris has done 9 laps on those softs. By his own... Ooh, Deck takes another 3-second penalty. By Boris's own admission, he's not the best at tyre conservation. So I think Boris will be probably going for a 2-stop. But we'll have to see how long he can take those tyres. As we've got Lau looking for a pass on Cosmo. Cosmo is out of the DRS zone, so 1.4 seconds behind Boris. So you would think that Lau's going to get the jump on Cosmo. Oh, as he just touches slightly. He's got a great exit. Cosmo knows exactly what's going to happen here. He's got no ERS, no DRS. So he moves to the side and lets Lau through. So Lau on the mediums goes up to 7th. Will now be in pursuit of Boris. And we got yellow in sector 3, but that looks to be another pit lane based yellow. As we got Cosmo diving in the pit, so it looks like the game's given us a yellow for everybody that's diving in the pits. As Big Puggy picks up a 3-second penalty. Let's have a quick look back what's going on at front. So we've got Bakker that's actually got past Mirko now. So Bakker is up into 4th place, chasing down Shigs, Yamines and always Rick. Shigs does have that penalty, of course. These 3 at the front are keeping a very, very similar gap all the way through. Yamines just dropping out of that DRS. So Shigs is going to have DRS now as he goes to make the pass close to the wall. Glad we caught that one. And Shigs goes through. Are we going to see any of the drivers' pits? And we do. We see Yamines coming into the pits. So the first driver of the front 3 to pit, because he was on the softs, of course. So he's gone in after 10 laps. Suspected mediums, yep. And Yamines comes out. Where is he going to rejoin? He's probably going to come out behind Boris. No, he's come out ahead of Huss and Marco, sorry. So Yamines has actually come out into some nice open space there. So if that's going to be interesting to see whether Yamines can now put the hammer down as Big Puggy retires. So that will be as Rick picks up the first penalty. We've got yellow in sector 3, which looks like Puggy. But we don't have a safety car, which is good news. As Rick and Shigs have now both picked up penalties. Oh, and we just missed a little bit of battling there between Boris and Lau. So Lau is out of ERS. Boris has got 25%, gets the DRS on Lau, so he's going to be looking to keep up. We've got Flying Boy Val entering the pits, going on to the mediums. Boris is going to have Yamines for company shortly. Boris has done 12 lap on those soft, but so has Mirko. We got yellow in sector 1. Can't quite see who that is, so that must have just been temporary. So we've got Mirko and Boris that have, and we do have a safety car. And we have a safety car. So what are the front guys going to do? What are the front guys going to do? They're on 12 lap old mediums. Are they going to pit now for hards? Are they going to go mediums and put softs on at the end, or are they going to put a short stint on softs? As all three drivers come in, and Rick is going on to another set of mediums. Mirko, I've lost track of who's doing what. We've got Shigs going on to the mediums, and we've got Backer going on to the mediums. So they are all three going to have to stop again, because they started on mediums and they put mediums back on. So they are committing to the two-stop. Whereas Yameen's is probably, because he pitted early, has also probably committed to the two-stop. As we've got Mirko, who was on the softs and is now on the mediums. So Mirko is the first driver that was on the softs, as we just have a quick check through on the TAS system. So we've got Yameen's, who's gone soft to medium. We've got Rick, Shigs and Backer that have gone medium. Mirko has gone soft to medium, and in 6th place we've got Cron, who has gone soft to hards. So all different strategies playing out within the top 6. Lau has also gone medium, so he will need to pit again. RPM Richie in 8th place has gone soft to medium. Boris has gone soft to medium. I know that Boris will be taking those mediums to the end. Don't ask me how, I just know. Got the Aston Martin in 10th, which is Cosmo. So Cosmo has also gone on soft to medium. Flying Boy Val medium. Dragos didn't pit, so this has brought Dragos back into play on those hards, so he could go on to the mediums anytime, sort of fairly soon, and would be comfortable. Bunch the whole pack up. Huss has changed to the medium, so Huss has stopped twice. Huss down in 16th has stopped twice, so Huss has gone soft medium. So he's taken the gamble that he will be going to the end. So this is definitely going to bring Huss back into play, because there's a lot of drivers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers ahead of Huss that will have to pit again for definite. So yeah, playing out absolutely crazy. We've got Deck, who's gone to the hards. So Deck's gone medium hard, so this has brought Deck back into play. And then we got Shaq, who is coming out the pits on the medium, so the safety cars help Shaq as well. He will have to join back up with the pack before the safety car comes in. So it's probably going to be lap 16, which would give us 19 laps on the mediums, which the mediums will comfortably do 19 laps. So, so thanks for that message there, Big Puggy, on the stream. Yeah, there's no, when you're using OBS, there's no guarding against messages coming through. So there you have it, straight from Puggy. His controller was played up, so he's decided that he wanted to DNF because he didn't think that was right. So yeah, thanks for that, Puggy. Safety car is in this lap. So we've got Yameen's leading the start. We'll stay on board with probably Shigs, giving us a good view of this. As Shigs nearly got caught there. Yameen's looked like he's gone. And we're all away. Mirko gets away well. Big gap on Cron. That might be the difference between the mediums and the hards. We've got a yellow in sector 3. That might just be because of the safety car restart. So looks like everybody got through okay, looking at the map. Lauer in 7th. Richie in 8th. So the guys that are going to have to stop again, so Rick, Shigs and Backer, they will be looking to really try and get some pace. And we think Yameen's as well. I think Yameen's is going to need to stop again because he stopped quite early on those mediums. Only 2 laps earlier. But Yameen's can have a go to take them to the end if he wants to. Rick, Shigs and Backer cannot. They cannot go to the end on these mediums because they've only been on the mediums, so they will need a different compound. Don't know what the game does if you don't actually pit. I'm assuming it gives you a penalty. Maybe someone in the chat can tell us what the game does if you don't change the compound of the tyres. As it looks like Bakker just skimmed the wall there. I hope he's not got damage. He doesn't, which is good, so that's great. Bakker's still on the charge. And then Mirko in 5th place. So if Mirko's got an engineer using his TAS link that every RPM driver gets sent at the start of a race, if he's using his TAS link, they will be seeing the same information that I'm seeing, and that would put Mirko into a net P2. At the moment, Mirko is in net P2, so he'll be conscious of that. And I don't know why Cron's Hards are telling him he's got a 7-lap old hard, so I'm sure Cron has only just put them on. So we've got Luke in the chat saying that the game will disqualify you, and Colin is confirming that it will be disqualification on the last lap, so that's going to be interesting. Let's hope that is the case to keep it fair, but I'm sure those guys know that they're going to pit anyway, so we'll just have to see how that goes. As we've got Lau coming on the back of Cron, can't get close enough. RPM Richie and DRS is now enabled as Bakker sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:11.8. And we've got Boris just behind Richie as Cosmo picks up another 3-second penalty. We will do the grand reveal shortly of the penalties around lap 20 or so. We'll try and keep it as a bit of a surprise up to that point. Cosmo's right on the back of Boris here. As Deck picks up another 3-second penalties. So like lap 7, it's raining penalties again in Canada. Flying Boy Val just dropping slightly off the back of that group there in 11th place. Marco's come through up to 12. Marco started at the back of the grid. So 12th place on those mediums, and Marco can go to the end. So he will have gone hard to mediums, and Marco will be going to the end. Marco's really good with his tyre management. So yeah, this is all going to change in the last probably 10 laps of this race as Rick sets the fastest lap. Very, very close now to Yameen's. Yameen's is probably not aware that the drivers behind him definitely have to pit again. I'm not sure I'd want to take the risk of 22, 23, 23 laps. Yameen's could do this if he's got the right tyre strategy, he's got the right traction, he's not overheating his tyres. 7 plus another 15, 16 laps, 22, 23. Those mediums could potentially go that far. I think Rick's going to probably look to make a move on the back straight here, but he's going to have to be a bit careful because he's got Shigs right behind him. He's going to have to be a bit careful because he's got Bakker right behind him. But I think Yameen's is going to be the one without the DRS, and he's got no ERS. He's weaving side to side. Rick goes up the inside, takes the corner nice, and Rick takes the lead back from Yameen's. That lead is mine, give it me back, says Rick as he goes down that back straight, and he will be looking to put some distance between himself now and the drivers behind him because he knows he's got to pit again. And Mirko just holding steady as we just have a quick check on tyre wear. Let's have a quick look out the drivers. So Rick's tyre wear is 14% and Yameen's in second is only 16%, whereas Mirko in 5th place that we're on board with now, Mirko's mediums are only at 12% tyre wear. So I think it's safe to say that Mirko is the one that will be trying to go for a one stop, and looking at his tyre wear suggests that he can do it. So in answer to your earlier question, Luke, who do I think is going to win? At this point, probably Mirko, as Rick picks up another penalty. I think that's Rick's second penalty. We won't reveal the penalties until lap 25. That's the lap that we will do the grand revealing of who's got what penalties, because we want to see how these last pit stops are going to play out, because these guys on mediums, if they are going to stop again, which they know they are, and they're going to go on to a brand new set of softs, they're going to want to give themselves the maximum amount of time on those softs to make up that time that they lose. So, and the softs will be faster than these mediums, so I suspect that these guys are going to probably come in around lap 25 to give them 10 really good solid laps on those softs. But who knows what's going to happen this lap. So Shigs on the back of Yameen's. Very, very clean racing from these guys, it has to be said. As Shigs now gets the DRS, so does Yameen's. Maybe Yameen's has got a slightly less downforce setup, because he seems to be holding really tight on Shigs there. But Yameen's doesn't have a penalty. He doesn't have any ERS as well, but he doesn't have a penalty as he looks to the side of Rick. And Backer's right behind. This is a four-way battle for the lead, and then in fifth place you've got Mirko sat behind. We just don't know what Yameen's is going to do. Is he going to pit or is he going to stay out? That's going to be the question. Let's move downfield a little bit. So we've got Cron on those hards, holding 7th place. I think he may have just lost 1 place after the pit stop to Lau. So Lau's gone through into 6th place, which is good performance from Lau, working his way through. We've got Richie 1.9 seconds off the back of Cron, but Richie is on the mediums. But Richie's mediums have now done 12 laps. So Richie did Richie pit? Let's have a look what Richie did on. So Richie did go softer mediums, but he must have pitted before the safety car, so didn't get the true benefit of the safety car, but still running a great race in 8th place. You would think with 12 lap old mediums he's going to pit again. And there goes the flying Boris, safely past Richie into 8th place. And we also think Boris is going to the end on these mediums as well. Let's have a quick check of Boris's tyre wear. Boris is only on 20%. So 20% with 15 laps to go. Of course there can be another safety car. Anything could happen. But if nothing does happen like that, we're thinking that Boris is going to go to the end. Got Flying Boy Val in 10th in the AlphaTauri, being chased down by Marco. Marco's now 1.2, looks closer than 1.2, but he's coming through on those mediums. So Marco's come from 19th to 11th as Shaq picks up another 3-second penalty. Marco probably is not going to pit again as well. So, and the gaps are quite small. The biggest gap we've got is between Mirko and Lau, which is that 7 seconds. And we got Cosmo in 12th. So Cosmo's dropped off the pace a little bit as the race has gone on. I don't know if Cosmo's got any damage there. Doesn't appear to be. No, the TAS system's working quite well. And Cosmo, I thought he was going to pit then, but he doesn't. Being followed by his old team rival Huss, also on those mediums. Huss will be a bit disappointed, I think, to drop back to 13th. I think Huss was hoping, after that quali, would have been hoping for a bit better than that. But a lot can happen. We got Shaq as we just joined Shaq, and I'd just like to point out, for the sake of the stream, that Shaq was already spinning before we joined him, so that wasn't the commentator's curse. So unlucky. Shaq's having a bit of a tricky run, as is his teammate Crazy Mo, and Dragos looks like he's been in the pits for his final time, so that will be Dragos going to the end on those mediums. And we now got Shigs taking the lead, so we've missed that. And we've got Backer with a 3-second penalty. And Yameen's has taken a penalty. So we did say lap 25, it was time to reveal the penalties. So as we now look, as Shigs' rear tyres look like they're starting to go. So we've got Shigs with a 3-second penalty. We've got RPM Always Rick with a 6-second penalty. Yameen's, and we have a yellow in sector 1, which will be at turn 2. It looks like it's one of the Alpines. Is it one of the Alpines or one of the Hassers? They're all running together. We will jump on as Crazy Mo sets another fastest lap of the race. So Crazy Mo has certainly got the pace as we go downfield and have a look what was going on. So we don't know what antics was going on. Looks like we've got we've got a DNF from Shaq. So Shaq has retired in the pits. No doubt he'll be telling us in the chat very shortly why that is. As Shigs picks up a 3-second penalty. So these guys at the front are really, really pushing. As Backer's gone up to 3rd place. So has Yameen's decided that for him it's a one-stop? Is he going to let the guys go? Let's have a look at his tyre wear. 27%. About the same as the other 3, give or take. Mirko on 22%. So I suspect that one of these or 2 of these are going to pit this lap for the softs, because you can easily get 10 laps out the softs. You can't wait around for safety cars all day. So what are the guys going to do? Who's going to be the first to pit and decide? As we jump on board with Always Rick. Always Rick will be in party with Backer. So as Boris picks up a penalty, his first 3-second penalty, he'll be disappointed with that. I predict that we are going to get 1, if not 2, if not 3, if not 4. And we've got 1. Only 1 jumping in. So Shigs has made the decision. Shigs has gone. So he's going for the undercut. He was actually at the front, so it was his decision to make. He's gone on to the softs. We'll come back to the penalties in a little bit. So where does that bring Shigs out? It's going to bring him out behind Boris. I don't think Boris is going to fight this, because Boris knows that Shigs is on the softs. Really intelligent driving from Boris there. Respectful and clean. Knows that Shigs is on the soft, so there's no point fighting that. Just hang in there in the DRS. As we've got the other 3 battling for the front. Always Rick leading. Oh, as Yameen's has started to spin, so the tyres may feel like they're starting to give way a little bit. Is that going to be what Yameen's needs to convince him to pit? His tyres are 2 laps older than the 2 guys in front, and we've got Backer and Yameen's in the pits, and Always Rick has gone again. So Always Rick is hoping for a safety car which may assist him with a quicker pit stop. Is Rick going to drag this as long as he can? We've got Mirko in second. Mirko is looking great for this because he can stay on those mediums, whereas Shigs is coming. Shigs is now behind Lau on those softs, so he's going to get the job done here. Backer's come out behind Shigs, so Backer's lost out quite a bit there. Shigs, the undercuts work fantastic for him. Can Shigs get past Lau quick enough? Boris is in between them. Great traction on the exit. Going to get DRS. So that's job done for Shigs. Shigs is now up into 3rd place. We know that Rick has to pit again, so that's net P2. Lau from memory, and I can't remember everything, so I'll have a look back. Lau also has to pit again. Boris does not have to pit again, and Backer is also out on the softs. Backer's being challenged here by Yameen's, and Yameen's has come out also on the softs at the same time. This is going to get chaotic. I don't even know if I want to look, Boris moves out of the way, knowing that he's not going to compete with these guys on the softs. This is going to be a battle and a half between Yameen's and Bakker, as Rick has now pitted, and Rick is going to come out way down the field. Rick's going to be really disappointed with that. Oh, he's come out right behind him. He's come out right behind him. So this is going to be a three-way battle right to the finish, and they've got, Shigs has got 9 seconds on Mirko. So this looks like a repeat of last night. Could Shigs close down? He's up to 8.8 seconds. Could Shigs close down 8.8 seconds in the last 6 laps? That depends on how Mirko's driving with his tyres, how his tyres feel, how much pressure he's going to put on. Wow. What a race. What a race. Luke is saying Mirko might win this. Yeah, I think Mirko might win this if he can just hold station. Boris is just dropping off the back here, so Boris on those mediums will be happy with 6. I'm quite sure of that. Richie, 19 laps. Is Richie going to take those mediums? If anybody can do it, Richie can do it. But Marco goes past. I think Richie's going to pit. I think Richie's going to pit. No, not this lap. And we got yellow in sector 3. And it looks like we have had a spin from someone. Let's have a quick check if we've got any damage for any of the drivers. We don't, which is good. We're all still clean. So RPM Always Rick has got past Yameen's, but Bakker has got past Always Rick. So Bakker is now on for a podium in his first race in mid-gear. Chasing down, he's 3 seconds behind Shigs. Shigs is 7.1 seconds behind Mirko. As Rick picks up another penalty. Penalties are going to come into this now. Of course, as we get to the end, we've got Rick with 9 seconds of penalties, where Yameen's has only got 3. We've got Shigs with 6 seconds of penalties, and Mirko has got no penalties at the moment. So effectively Mirko has a 12-second lead on Shigs. Bakker could be on for P2 because he's only 3 seconds behind Shigs, and Shigs has a 6-second penalty, whereas Bakker only has a 3-second penalty. So Bakker could quite easily get in, if he can get in the zone and get that below 3 seconds, he will, and not get any more penalties himself, then he will take P2, which the Ferrari team will be absolutely delighted with, I'm sure. As we jump back on board with Shigs, 5.7, but as we can see, Mirko still has no penalties. So Luke is saying if the softs are quick enough, Bakker could win. I don't think Bakker is going to have the pace to get past Mirko and pull out a 3-second lead on Mirko. I think 5 seconds, 8 seconds, plus another 11 seconds in 4 laps would mean Concord. It's not, unless there's an incident, I just can't see that happening myself. As we look at the battles further down, we've got yellow in sector 3, and that looks to be AlphaTauri, which could be Cosmo. So we've got Yameen still chasing down Rick, but Rick has got 9 seconds of penalties. So this would put Yameen's into a net P4, but then Shigs has got 6 seconds of penalties, and I don't believe that Yameen's is... He may be, yeah, maybe. He's more than 3. He's more than 3. So yeah, net P4 based on penalties at the moment. Then we've got Boris, and we've got Marco. So Marco is actually going to jump Boris based on the penalties, because Marco's going to jump up to 6th place. So from last on the grid, that's going to be an awesome performance from Marco in the Alpine. We've got Richie 4 seconds behind, also with no penalties. So the only 3 drivers with no penalties are Mirko, Marco and Richie. We got Cron, who's on the hards, in 9th. We've got Lau right behind him, so this battle's going to run on to the end as we just keep an eye. Shigs is now down to 3.1 seconds with 2 laps to go as Lau gets the overtake done on Cron for 9th place, but in doing so picks up another 3-second penalty, so that puts him up to 6 seconds. So as Huss picks up a 3-second penalty, it's just penalties crazy. Right, so as we go back up the field, Yamin's keeping right up with Rick. What a great race this has been. Absolute race of trying not to get penalties. Shigs is now down to he's down to 2 seconds. He's going to be in the DRS zone on the last lap. So Mirko's going to have his wits about him to actually look at those penalties and realise that he doesn't necessarily need to defend. At the same time, the softs that Shigs are on will also start fading, but Shigs has got to keep pushing, because if Bakker gets another penalty, then that puts them equal. Shigs is also trying to keep this gap down, so you can see the 2.8 seconds. Shigs is also trying to keep that as close to 3 seconds as he can, as he comes up to the back of Mirko now. He's probably going to be in the DRS zone by the back straight. Crazy race, crazy race. As Shigs just starting to squirm, his tyres are starting to squirm a little bit. Mirko's mediums are only on 38%, so Mirko's managed those tyres lovely out front, and probably still has a little bit of pace left if he needs it for that last lap. Boris's tyres are on 47%. He's also done them from the same time, so we'll just have a quick flick back through. Bakker 3rd place, Rick in 4th, Yamin's 5th, Boris in 6th. Marco has now dropped out of the 3-second gap, so it looks like Boris is going to keep that position. So Marco will be doing his best to try and close that 3/10 down. Lau just behind him in 8th, Richie penalty free, so he's going to jump up to 8th place. Cron, Huss, we got Eek, Deck. Not been the best race for Deck. Deck's definitely got the pace. As we're on the last lap, let's jump on board with Shigs. What is Shigs going to do? Is he going to go past, or is he going to stay behind? I think he's going to have to go past, because he's trying to keep that gap between the two. Mirko will see this. He will know what's going on. He's got no penalties. He probably won't defend too much. Maybe not there though, Shigs. I imagine probably on the back straight, or maybe even here into the final hairpin. Shigs is going to go down the inside. No, thinks twice. He's going to get it on the straight. He'll get the better traction out. The corner back has closed the gap, so Shigs knows he's got to do it. He's going to get DRS, so Shigs is going for the win on track. As Mirko lets him through, sensible move. Let's hope the guys don't pick up any penalties on the last corner. As Shigs comes through, and Shigs takes the win on track, but it's going to be Mirko Lesko with his first win in mid-gear for the Williams with a stunning drive. Bakker taking 2nd place in the Ferrari. Shigs getting 3rd place, so Bakker pushing on. Got him onto the middle step of the podium. Yamin's in 4th. Jumping always Rick due to the penalties, who finishes a great 5th place. Boris in 6th. Marko Solanovic in 7th, so 6th and 7th for the Alpine. Good result, good solid result. Marko, amazing result, starting 19th on the grid. RPM Richie in 8th place. Great race from him. I'm sure Ferrari will be happy with the 2nd and an 8th. We got Lau in 9th. LN Cron in 10th. Equal in 11th. We got the 2 Red Bulls of Huss and Deck in 12th and 13th. We have Crazy Mo in 14th, so a reasonable recovery for him after a difficult start. We got the Aston Martin of Cosmo in 15th, Dragos in 16th, and Flying Boy Val in 17th. And you saw there we have the driver of the day, which was Marko Solanovic. Can't disagree with that. As Mirko takes the top step for the win for Williams, round 1 of RPM mid-gear. So there we have it. We will just have a quick run through the results before we try and get the guys in for a quick interview. We can see the results here that we've already been through. I'm hoping that we're not going to be stuck on that screen, but it kind of doesn't really matter to us if we are. But we'll get this for the stream because of what we need for the results, which is now good enough. So we will now see if we can get the drivers in for interview. If you just bear with us a few seconds. So we will, no, wrong one. We don't want to do that. So we want to, usually the co-coms would do this, but this has not been the case. So we have Mirko, the race winner, Shigs and RPM Backer, if I can find him on my list. So while these guys have been added to the party, if you could let us know in your opinion, guys, who was the driver of the day in the chat, that would be great. And hopefully we will have one of the guys joining us shortly, as we've got a very coughing, what looks to be our second place finisher, RPM Backer. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, and I suspect you can hear me as well.
I can hear you. Congratulations on your second place. That was an amazing race. Do you want to tell us about it?
That was so hard. It was so hard. Great drive from Marco, by the way, by taking the win on the one stop, taking the mediums to the end.
How was the full quali for you?
I really enjoyed it. Also surprised myself with my medium lap in Q2.
Yeah. Did you think that the full quali worked well, or was it a bit too long, or what were you thinking as a driver?
I do think it worked well, and also, you need to plan even better when you go out, because there was a lot of cars on track in Q1, what made it very hard. And I tried to set one lap because of all the cars on track. And in Q3, you got way more space, and everyone can show all what they got in Q3 there with an open track.
Well, it looked really good for the stream, I have to say. It looked really good, concentrating on the drop zone. It was a little bit long, of course, but as long as you guys all enjoyed it, that was great. So tell us about your pit stop, because you went medium. Was that deliberate?
Yeah, it was, because at first I wanted to go medium hards, but then I noticed that was 5 seconds slower. So I didn't want to take the gamble, because of course I started P6. I was not too happy with my Q3 place, because I invalidated my last stint on 2 purple sectors and invalidated in sector 3. So I was not too happy starting in P6, and then I wanted to go for medium soft, but also that didn't seem possible, and the most safest way for me seemed to be the medium soft.
Really interesting. Well, you had a great race, mate, and you worked your way through, and no spins and no incidents. So congratulations.
Yeah, I lost it a
buddy.
lot of times, to be honest. I hope you didn't catch that too much.
Well, not for you and Rick. Now, I did catch a few spins on stream, so there's a few commentators' apologies to be handed out in the Discord after. But on this occasion, that's not to you, mate. So congratulations and well done, and we'll look forward to next week. And as you get used to this, it's certainly going to be. The field was incredibly close, close. Amazing race, race.
You could already see it in qualifying.
Yeah.
Especially Q3 or something. P2 to P10 was only 2 tenths.
Really, really super, really super. And Rick was
Yeah,
having.
and I need to say one more thing
Go
because
on.
I promised to say it. Get in there, Andy.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, thanks for that. I'm sure everyone appreciates that. So I think we've also got Mirko with us, our race winner. Can you hear us?
Yeah, hello guys. I can hear
Hello,
you.
hello, Mirko. How are you, mate?
Um, yeah, I feel fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Congratulations, mate. Congratulations. That was the one stop. That was amazing. Abs, tell us about your race.
Uh, Very well planned. Everything was, going like on the schedule. I planned from the beginning the one stop. I knew I can stretch the softs until the lap something between 11 and 14, and then the last stint of mediums was not even an issue. Um, so yeah, actually a little bit of luck. Well, you need it sometimes if you want to win. Um, I knew I'm in a good position after I saw that the guys in front of me went for another stint of mediums, Shix, Barker, and Rick. I didn't know for my teammates, so yeah, it was a close field definitely. But after the safety car, actually, it was very good for me that the faster guys was in front of me. I was keeping the gap around 2 seconds and had a clean, let's say, the clean air and focused on my driving and keeping and managing the tires. So yeah, qualifying was also very good. I was, I think, something right 2 tenths quicker, but lost it in the last chicane. So yeah, very
You
very
were
good, very interesting. Yeah.
you were penalty free as well. One of only three
Yes.
drivers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, congratulations on that as well. Your teammate, by the way, could have potentially stayed out on his mediums, but chose not to. So I think that he kind of went with the crowd, and you did. So congratulations on that mate. Great win, and it certainly made for a really interesting stream. Hopefully everybody that watched it agreed. So yeah, thanks very much and congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know, have we got Shigs with us? I didn't see him join.
No.
I didn't see him, so.
I don't think we have. So unfortunately, that will be the end of that. Well, thanks guys, and a great race, and we'll look forward to next week at Brazil. I know that's one of your favourites, Backer, so there's no excuses next week, and hopefully it'll be another great race for mid-gear.
Yeah, let's hope so. This is also one of my favorites, by the way. So I'm happy.
You did choose Canada, so
Yeah.
P2 on the track that you chose is well deserved, mate. Well deserved. Okay, well that's it for the stream. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all the guys that have joined us in the chat and made it a little bit more interesting when you're in the comms booth on your own. If you've enjoyed the stream and you would like to join RPM Esports, you can scan the QR code on your phone and that will take you straight into our Discord, where one of our admins will be there to welcome you. All that's left to say is hopefully you can join us tomorrow night when my co-admin RPM Always Rick will be on comms for High Gear, the best of the best around Canada, full quali. Have a good evening and